Second part of oral mucous membrane is basically involving the keratinized mucosa and specialized mucosa. Keratinized, we have gingiva and hard palate. Gingiva I have already explained in detail. You can check my previous videos on gingiva. So let's see what is hard palate and its structures. Hard palate is a keratinized masticatory mucosa. It is pink in color, firmly attached to underlying structures. So in hard palate, the first structure is palatine gingiva, which is close to the teeth on palatal side. Second structure is median palatine raphe. So median palatine raphe, which is extends from incisive papillae, this is incisive papillae, and to posterior. So incisive papillae, this is a pear shaped and is formed of dense connective tissue which contains the oral part of nasopalatine duct. And in the median palatine raphe, it is difficult to differentiate between lamina propria and submucosa. Okay, this is median palatine raphe. We cannot distinguish between lamina propria and submucosa. And the anterior part, this is the anterolateral part, which is known as fatty region or fatty zone. This area present between the raphe and gingiva anteriorly, and its lamina propria is fixed to periosteum by bands of fibrous connective tissue, which is dividing the submucosa into compartments containing fat cells. Okay, so that is anterior fatty zone, and the posterior part is known as posterolateral part is known as glandular zone, because it is posterior to the fatty zone and which is containing mucous glands. So this fatty and glandular zone act as cushion, and connective tissue of papilla is thick anteriorly than posterior. In non-keratinized mucosa, we have that is lining mucosa and specialized mucosa. Lining mucosa, we have already seen, it is firmly attached to underlying muscles of soft palate, lip and lip cheek and ventral surface of tongue. Loosely attached are floor of the mouth, vestibule and alveolar mucosa. So those are loosely attached. And these lining mucosa are non-keratinized, which is flexible, which withstands stretching, which interface with connective tissue is smooth. Lamina propria is thicker with fewer collagen fibers. Elastic fibers provide more extensibility, and it attached to muscle by collagen and elastic fibers. Now we have very interesting specialized mucosa. This is a dorsal surface of tongue. This is anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. The connective tissue binds the epithelium to underlying skeletal muscle. The epithelium is modified, keratinized, stratified, covered with papillae, which can be seen with naked eye. So we have four different types of papillae: filiform papillae, fungiform, circumvallate and foliate. This is very important. Papillae is commonly asked question. And the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 is differentiated by a V-shaped structure which is known as sulcus terminalis. So this is sulcus terminalis, and these papillas are specialized in taste perception. So we have two parts, I told, anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. Anterior 2/3 is originated from first pharyngeal arch, and it is papillary portion, and the posterior 1/3 is lymphatic portion. This is originated from third pharyngeal arch, which is also known as lingual tonsil, or which is the lymphatic portion, which is separated by sulcus terminalis. Now let's see our papillae one by one. The first one is filiform papillae. Filiform papillae is seen in the anterior tongue, which is a cone-shaped papillae. Connective tissue covered with thick keratinized epithelium, and it has velvet appearance on the tongue. So though abrasive surface, so function as masticatory mucosa, it is buildup of keratin leads to elongation. So it is basically keratinized, so there is no much function for this as a specialized taste sensation. So increased keratinization leads to hairy tongue. Okay, so filiform papillae is not involved with particularly any taste. Now fungiform papillae, which is scattered. This is scattered between numerous filiform papillae. So filiform papillae is like projected one, and fungiform papillae is numerous. It is scattered between this filiform papillae, which is smooth round structures like mushroom shaped and red highly vascular connective tissue, which has taste buds present on the superior surface. So fungiform papillae has taste bud on the superior surface. This is circumvallate papillae, this brown bubbles. So fungiform and filiform are present here. This is just in front of sulcus terminalis, which is surrounded by deep circular groove into which the ducts of von Ebner's salivary glands opens. So in between these papilla, the von Ebner's salivary gland. So here von Ebner's salivary gland, the ducts are opening, and connective tissue core covered by keratinized epithelium. So the lateral wall is non-keratinized epithelium and has taste buds. Okay, so this is also having taste bud. Circumvallate papilla has also taste buds. It is 8 to 12 in number. These are very numerous. Filiform and fungiform are numerous in number. This is 8 to 12. In between, von Ebner's gland ducts are opening. And the last one is foliate papillae, which is located in the furrow along the posterior side of tongue. So they may be lined with taste buds. They are not prominent in human beings actually. So that is the 4 papillae: filiform, fungiform, circumvallate and foliate is very important. And papillae are mainly concerned with different taste sensation. So the circumvallate papillae, which is present here, is involved with bitter taste. Okay, so the bitter taste. Then the fungiform papillae, which is sweet and salty. Fungiform papillae, which is sweet and salty here. Okay, so the sweet and salt here, this is a bitter recepting area by circumvallate papillae. Fungiform papillae is here, sweet and salt. Filiform has no role. And foliate papillae, this is a foliate papillae on the lateral side. Foliate papillae, the sour, so bitter, sour on lateral side of tongue, and sweet and salt on the anterior part. Okay, this is by circumvallate papillae, this is by foliate papillae, this is by fungiform papillae. Filiform papillae has no taste buds. So taste bud, which is arranged like staves of a barrel, so which is present in tongue except filiform papillae, and which is present in soft palate and posterior surface of epiglottis. So this is taste bud I am talking about, this peculiar picture, which is intraepithelial structures, barrel shaped, maybe ovoid shape with rounded base resting on basal membrane, and end with a narrow opening. So this is opening, this is a basement opening towards epithelial surface called as taste pore. So here the taste sensation happening through the nerve endings, it goes to the sensory innervation. And each taste bud is composed of around 3 modified epithelial cell type and other supporting cells arranged like layers of onion. Okay, so this is layers of onion or staves of barrel. And taste cells, they contain 11 to 12, that is neuroepithelial cells. They are 11 to 12 in number and present between the inner supporting cells. So that is about taste bud. The lingual tonsil, which is the posterior part of tongue, which has lymphatic nodules, which is known as lingual tonsil, which is a non-keratinized area, and this lymphatic tissue surrounds the crypt and composed of germinal centers, and lymphatic tissue fills the spaces between these centers. Okay, this is completely involved with lymphoid tissues, which is known as lingual follicles or lingual tonsil. And few age changes which is happening in oral mucosa, like oral mucosa of elderly patient has smoother and drier surface than younger patient. It is due to any systemic disease, or could be due to as a aging process. Epithelium appears thinner histologically, flattening of epithelial ridges, so this will be flattened, and reduction in number of Filiform Papillae, Langerhans cells become fewer with age, leading to decrease in cell mediated immunity and decrease in cellularity, also seen in lamina propria, and increase the amount of collagen. Fordyces granules, where these are the sebaceous glands of lips and cheeks. So that I forgot to mention, Fordyces granule, which is very important. Fordyces granule. Fordyces granules, which are sebaceous glands of lips and cheeks. Okay, so these glands will be increased with age, and in postmenopausal women they have symptoms of dryness of mouth and burning sensation and abnormal taste. So that's all about oral mucous membrane. So we finished it in two parts, and the first part was about the epithelium and basic classification. So in second part we finished the keratinized mucosa, gingiva and hard palate. Gingiva I didn't mention here because I already explained it in my previous videos, and hard palate and specialized mucosa. So specialized mucosa is very important. There's lots of question will be asked, the papillae and the taste sensation, and we have pictures of this, and the taste pore and the taste bud also is an important short note. And keratinized, non-keratinized mucosa, specialized mucosa, gingiva, hard palate, and various layers, the 4 layers in keratinized epithelium and 3 layers in non-keratinized epithelium, and the prickly appearance in stratum spinosum, keratohyalin granules in stratum granulosum, all are important, and the basal layer, which is a geminative layer. So that's all about oral mucous membrane. It's a simple chapter, but lots of questions will be asked from this chapter. So I'll come up with another session on the dental histology. We have more chapters coming up. We have dentine, enamel, pulp, then we have salivary glands. So I'll come with any of these topics in my next session. Thank you.